Association, Gidai. Now actually the talk is recovery. For the aviation sector, we understand it was one of the worst hit sectors globally by the pandemic. How is the local market recovering?
Thank you very much for hosting me. Yes, March 2020 to April 2020 was when the pandemic hit. And definitely it was a significant hit. By April and May, most of the restrictions had come in, and only the suspension came in late in July, August. But the good news is that we are on full recovery mode, and with respect to domestic traffic or domestic flying, we as an industry, the numbers are back, and in most routes, there are even some of the routes which have been able to come back to pre-pandemic levels. Some of the, largely the touristic routes. But overall, within the country, Kenya, domestic flying is back, and we also have growth in other very unique non-traditional areas like northern Kenya, where we are flying very good loads. But otherwise, the industry now is back. We are even very encouraged when we find domestic airlines who had leased out and narrowed down their equipment, ordering for more equipment and asking for their suppliers to give them the aircrafts back. So this is very encouraging. So domestic flying is back.
Definitely.
So, which is very encouraging.
Yeah.
Regional and international, we are still behind.
Yeah, and we'll come to regional and international market. But for domestic flight, I understand vaccination is one of them, and the reopening of the economy is one of the mitigating factors to this recovery and people flying more. But are there any factors that are, sort of pushing this more flights that we're seeing?
First is there was a prolonged time when there was no travel. So that lack of travel for a prolonged time meant the desire to travel had been piling up. So the moment the restrictions were lifted, and in about 3 to 4 months after the lifting, where there was an economic revival or restitution, then the disposable incomes were starting to come back. So that meant domestic flying then recovered. So the factors which are leading to this growth are very simple. It's the lack of flights or travel over almost a 1 year period. Then the resumption of business activities has meant there's been a slow recovery in terms of job creation, and therefore the disposable income has come back, and they are now, the foreign tourists are back. So that means the demand for travel has slightly increased.
Definitely. And we are touching on that earlier on, just in a side chat, and you're talking about also people are seeing the potential of the market. It is sort of undertapped. There's so much room for growth. Maybe talk about, do we have new players coming in, or even old players rethinking of how business should be done post-pandemic?
Correct. Yes, there is a significant investment, not necessarily by new players, but by existing players. What we are seeing is a shift largely from operators who have been charter carriers, or what we refer to have been in the business of ACMI, meaning they were providing their aircrafts to a relief-based organization, that is the various UN agencies who choose Nairobi as a base. So they are the operators who were providing these services to these NGOs are now some of them are choosing to shift model because of some of their contracts were not renewed. So they are choosing opting, because they already have the equipment. The issue is utilization. They are choosing now to be a bit bullish and to offer the domestic routes within Kenya that previously were not being served. So now we are seeing more investment in domestic routes, and now previously some of the routes where you will find only 2 or 3 carriers, now we are finding even 6 to 7 carriers on a route that has always been there. So this is a good sign.
Yeah, it's a good sign. What is the impact of that in terms of, because Kenyans, majority of us don't fly. That is the reality of the matter. Is it having sort of a trickle-down effect towards, one, our attitude of flying, and also to the cost of flying for the general public?
Everything is numbers. If we can be able to get the numbers, it works well both for the air operator, it works well for the flying public. Classic, I'll give 2 examples. Nairobi, Kisumu. This is a route where majority of the travelers in this sector prefer to fly, but some of them have not been getting the right options. Towards the close of 2020, we had 4 carriers, domestic carriers, who were able to were serving this route. But 2021, we've seen a better investment by the domestic carriers on this route. So towards April, we saw one operator launch a domestic service out of Jomo Kenyatta, JKIA, to Kisumu using a 78-seater aircraft, doing twice 2 frequencies a day. So deploying almost 150 to 300 additional seats on that route alone. And the interesting thing is that it has not affected the other carriers, because what it has done, because of the rate they are offering, it has led to more people being able to fly on that route. Then the other has been to northern Kenya. This is Wajir, Mandera. These are routes which predominantly the people, the communities in that area prefer to fly. But now we've seen more investment by carriers to offer more flights in these routes. And they've actually grown far beyond what we were expecting.
Definitely. We are out of time, Githa. Maybe in a sentence or 2, is Kenya still the leader when we talk aviation in the East Africa region, or is there competition coming right behind us?
I will say Kenya is still the leader, but we are under significant threat from Rwanda, who are coming up quite well, from our 2 neighbors who are now have functioning airlines, Uganda and Tanzania. So our position is there, but it is under serious threat. And just one point before I go, we as Kenya, we need to ensure that as stakeholders we get the right strategies, because our position is under threat. Okay. For example, the regulator currently, the KCA currently has vacancies in the board. We need to ensure and to tell government that we need the recruitment of directors at Kenya Civil Aviation to be done properly as per the law, in an open and competitive manner, to get directors who will be able to guide this sector to the next level.
Okay, definitely. Thank you very much. Githa Mwaniki, Organizing Secretary, East African Commercial Aviation Association. Very, very positive outlook right there for the local aviation scene.